Hopefully everyone's here and can hear me. Hi, my name's Sarah. I work for Warner Media. I'm the early careers lead. And we'll be talking to you today about placements at Warner Media. You'll see along the bottom, I'm also joined by Tyler, Cara and Yodin, who are some of our current placement interns. And they will be talking to you a little bit about their experience, and there'll be an option to ask them some questions at the end as well. I'm just going to start my slides. Hopefully all will work. Okay. So, Warner Media then, you may or may not already know us. We are a global media company with some of the most valuable entertainment, news and sports brands in the world. I'm sure you are probably already aware of some of our most famous brands. So, for example, Warner Brothers. We also have HBO, and some of you may have already heard of HBO Max, which is our direct-to-consumer service in the US. We also have CNN, which is our news network and was the first ever 24-hour news channel. And then there's Boomerang, Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim. So you may have grown up watching cartoons on these networks, or maybe you still do. And then we also have brands like DC Comics, WB Games, and many others. And as I mentioned before, we are a global company, so lots of our content does come from the US, but we do have a large presence in EMEA, and that means Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we have local productions across Europe and the UK. We also have Leavesden Studios, so some of you may have visited there to go to the Harry Potter studio tour, but we do also make films there. So for example, the upcoming Wonder Woman 1984 film and the Wizarding World films were both made there. So our two main buildings in the UK are sort of headquarter offices, and they're based in central London. So we've got the Warner Media building on Old Street and then the Warner House building in Holborn. Currently, all employees are working from home, but we do hope to return to the offices in some capacity during 2021. So as a global media and entertainment company, we have divisions spanning a huge range of different areas, and we offer placements across many of these. So our placements are a year-long opportunity for undergraduates to come and work with us from July until the following July. We generally offer between 40 and 60 placements each year in roles such as data and analytics. So these roles provide vital analysis on how our content is performing, and they advise areas like marketing on how we can perform better. Marketing make up a huge percentage of our placement roles. So when you see an advert for our films and content on the tube or other public transport if you're not in London, or when you're scrolling on Twitter, it's our teams who work to put them there. Our publicity teams work to spread the word about our films, so they arrange the glitzy events you see on TV and press junkets, along with everything else that comes with publicising our content. Our in-house design teams put together artwork and animations for our own marketing campaigns. So if you're a budding designer or animator, then these placements are a great opportunity to get some first-hand work experience. We also offer a number of HR placements. So if you have an interest in the people side of the business, or you just want to see how a HR department works, whether you're interested in recruitment, learning and development, or general HR. We also have finance roles across our entire organisation, so from theatrical to TV production, CNN to Warner Brothers Games. If you're interested in a career in finance, this might be sort of something a little bit different from the usual finance placement. Our CNN Create Studio also offers one placement per year to a budding video producer. So this team creates short-form branded content, documentaries and commercials for some of the world's biggest brands. And in technology and operations, or tech ops, you'll see how technical support is provided through a film's life cycle. So that's from production to TV distribution. And our tech ops teams do things like localizing our content for international markets through dubbing and subtitling. Our sales teams work with physical and digital accounts to make sure our content is available across a wide range of stores, cinemas and digital platforms. And our sales placements will see you providing support to these teams. And then finally, we also have a photojournalism opportunity. So this is with CNN. And it will give someone the chance to work with CNN's photojournalist team to film and edit fast-breaking news events and feature stories. There's also a number of other more niche roles, and you can find out more on our website, which I will give you in a little bit. So the perks and benefits of our placement scheme. The salary is £22,000 for the year. You also get 20 days holiday and all of the UK bank holidays off. In the summer, we have a summer hours policy, which lets you finish on a Friday, lets you finish early on a Friday, not finish on a Friday. Hopefully everyone finishes on a Friday. We also have paid volunteer days, so you can use these to volunteer in the local community or take part in any company-led voluntary work. And the dress code is fairly casual, so it does vary slightly from team to team, but you'd never be expected to turn up to work in a suit. We also have regular competitions to win tickets to premieres and other promotional events when we can physically attend them. At the moment, they're sort of more to do with drive-in cinemas or getting the chance to win box sets and things like that. You can also purchase lots of our content for free, or access lots of our content for free, and then purchase discounted DVDs, games, and merchandise. So that's just some of the perks of working at Warner Media. And then along with that, each year we offer regular training sessions for our interns to take part in. So that might range from email etiquette to presentation skills. Our goal is really to give our interns the most valuable experience that they can get. We also run training on how to use certain software, such as SAP, which we use for invoicing and purchasing. And then we give opportunities to network with leaders in the business and previous interns as well. So in these sessions, you get to ask them questions about their experience and how they got to where they are now. And then finally, the Connect and Learn sessions, which are run by our current interns and their teams. These allow you to find out a little bit more about different teams that you may not necessarily work with on a day-to-day basis. So once we go live with our roles later in the year, and we're hoping for it to be kind of like early December time, you'll be able to find them on our website, which is warnermediaearlycareers.com, or through Rate My Placement or the careers service at your university. So we hope there'll be around 40 to 50 different placement roles this year, which is yet to be kind of finalised, but you can apply for as many as you like. The application process for our roles is all carried out online. So on our website, you'll be able to view all vacancies and choose ones that interest you. So when you're completing the application form, you really want to sell yourself and explain why you'd love the opportunity. We're looking to see your passion and potential. So look out for your job description or the job description for the role and relate this to your previous work experience or even your university experience. Remember not to rush your application. So you'll normally have a couple of months between us advertising the role and then the closing date. So you don't need to submit it until nearer the end. There's no kind of special treatment for people that apply early. And then if you're shortlisted after the application stage, it's likely you'll be asked to complete an on-demand video interview. So this means you're set questions and you record yourself answering them. So just some tips if you are fortunate to get to this stage. Make sure you wear something smart. So even though you're at home and there's no one else there, you still want to make sure that you're going to impress. Think about your background or surroundings. So tidy your room if that's in shot, or take yourself away from any noise if you can. And you'll be given some time to prep after seeing the questions. So take some notes so that you don't forget what you want to say. And finally, don't overthink it. You're probably going to be much harsher on yourself than the person who's actually watching the videos back. So for 2021 starting placements, all of our assessment centres will be virtual. So this means you won't need to travel anywhere to attend and you can join them from the comfort of your own home. The platform we'll be using is likely to be Microsoft Teams, or that may be Zoom. The day will usually begin with an icebreaker and then will be followed by group and individual tasks. So these will often be related to the role you're applying for, but at times they might be a little bit more generic. So it could just be an Excel or a numerical test. At the end of the day, you'll find out if you've made it to the next and final stage, which is a one-to-one interview with the hiring manager. And again, this will be carried out over video call. And just some top tips for assessment centres. So whether this is at Warner Media or anywhere else that you're applying to. Firstly, make sure that you've dressed appropriately. So this will show that you've made an effort and will help you to come across professionally. A smart shirt or a jumper is fine. You don't need to be wearing a suit. As soon as you receive the invitation for your assessment centre, make sure you check out the software that's needed for the day and download it in advance. This means that on the day you can avoid hitting any snags and being late. On the day of the assessment centre, log on to the call about 10 minutes early, just in case there's any issues with logging on. If the assessors aren't ready for you, they'll leave you in the waiting room until it's time to start. And do whatever you can to ensure your Wi-Fi connection is as good as it can be. You can help this by turning off other devices that you're not using and sit near to the router. If your Wi-Fi at home is particularly unreliable, I'd recommend investing in an Ethernet cable, which allows you to plug your laptop straight into the router. They're pretty cheap on Amazon and they are very good at boosting your Wi-Fi or your internet speed. Try to do your assessment centre from a quiet place in your home, so somewhere that you can't be distracted and where there won't be any distractions for the assessors either. So remember, you can always mute yourself if you're not needed to speak, if there are noises going on beyond your control. And finally, carry out plenty of research on the company before the day. Search for the managers and the assessors on LinkedIn if you have the info. And if you're coming to an assessment centre at Warner Media, for example, you could have a think about which department you'll be working in. So if the role sits within a theatrical team, research our upcoming slate. Or perhaps if the role's in HR, you could see if you can find any recent news stories that may have an impact on our employees. And if anyone is still unsure about whether they're wanting to take a placement year, I've just got some kind of points for why I think you should. So some of you might be desperate to finish your university course so you can get on with the next stage in your life, and I can totally understand that, but it is really beneficial for your future career to do one. So according to Rate My Placement, 59% of UK graduates that were hired by their top 100 employers were former interns and placement students. Companies use their placement schemes to spot future talent, and I know I can speak on behalf of Warner Media that we definitely do this because you're already very familiar with the team ethics and the culture when you come back as graduates that way. And one of the first places that a lot of companies look for when they're hiring graduates is their pool of former placement students and interns. The experience you gain on placement is also very different to the university experience, and by spending a year in industry, you gain lots more practical experience that you can then apply to any job after you graduate. And in many companies, there's also a large cohort of placement students, so it gives you the opportunity to meet people who are at the similar stage of their career. And at Warner Media, we place lots of importance on our placement interns getting to know each other through social events and also through the formal training opportunities that I spoke about earlier. And doing a placement will also help you to build a network of new contacts. So, after spending 12 months working for a company, you get to know people from across the business. And, even if you don't end up going back to that company afterwards, they can always help you with contacts and references. So the next sort of part is an opportunity to ask some questions for our interns. I have a few questions readily made, which they've prepared for, but then afterwards we can move on to a bit of a Q&A. So I can't see that they're here, but I'm assuming they are. Guys, if you want to unmute yourselves when I start asking the questions, that would be great. So if you could tell me a little bit about a day in the life of a placement intern, what does your kind of day-to-day look like?
Hi everyone, I'm Yoden and I work in the financial compliance and reporting team. My day generally starts about 9:30, where I spend about 15 minutes to half an hour just going through emails, checking my messages, and just sort of mentally planning out my day tasks and stuff like that. You work until about 1, and then you have a 1-hour lunch break. It's all at home, obviously, so you just work on your laptop in a quiet place. If you have meetings, you sort of go to a quiet place and make sure your Wi-Fi is okay, or try to make sure your Wi-Fi is okay. Apart from that, after lunch, we work from about 2 to 6, and then, yeah, same again the next day, I guess. We have about 2 or 3 hours, not 2 or 3, about 1 or 2 hours of meetings every day, at least in my my department, and apart from that, we just crack on with the work we're given from our managers.
Thanks. Oh, could you just say as well which intern you are? I don't think I actually probably introduced it.
Yeah, I am the financial compliance and reporting team intern. And my name is Yoden.
Cara, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Cara. I'm the trade marketing intern for Warner Media. So I'm part of a very wide marketing team. There seems to be so many different marketing roles at Warner Media. So there's something for everyone. But should I talk about my day as a placement intern? Yeah. Well, as I said, kind of if you were in the employer booths, I said that a routine is very important for me, especially now working virtually. So I'm a bit of a morning bird and I wake up at 6. Yeah, I know, mental. And I do a bit of exercise and I feel like that gets me ready for the day. And different to Yoden, but my manager at the very start gave me the choice if I either wanted to start work at 9 or 9:30. So your managers might do that. They might give you a choice, and I chose to work earlier. So I work from 9 until 5:30 instead of 6, and have a meeting every morning with my manager at 9:30. So before that, I check all my emails, check the exhibitor websites. So I specifically work with cinemas. So I look on their social channels, what they're marketing, making sure they're using the right assets. So before my meeting with my manager, I'm kind of prepared on what I want to say and what we need to discuss. And then, yeah, kind of the same. I depends really, but I'll take a break either at 1 or 2, depending how busy I am in the morning, and I'll take it for an hour, and then after lunch I'll work until 5:30. And I mostly have like big meetings in the morning, so most of and the evening. So then kind of morning, evening, and then in the middle of the day I get on with the stuff that my managers told me to work on. But also I think it's important to take regular tea and biscuit breaks in the morning and afternoon as well, just to kind of break it up a little bit so you're not stuck inside, and because you're working in the same area as you live in, so it's important to kind of break the day up. But yeah.
Thanks.
Cool. I'm the intern. That involves like quite a broad range of things. So I work between the generalist HR team. Generally, what I do there is like references across the business, probations, tracking all the new starters and seeing how their performance is, liaising with like their line managers and stuff like that to make sure they're doing all right. And I'm also the main kind of point of HR contact for the whole intern scheme. So if any intern has any like HR kind of related issues, they come to me and ask me as their first point of contact, and then I'll kind of either deal with it there or kind of delegate them to the appropriate place. And then the other side of my job is talent acquisition. So the main thing I do is work with Sarah and our other intern and PA Martha, and we work to recruit for the next year of the cohort, the next cohort of interns. So hopefully some of you guys will be applying this year. The way my day goes, it kind of varies depending on which department's more busy. If it's generalist, then I kind of work more closely with that team. If it's TA, I work more closely with Sarah. So yeah, it kind of depends. But the way I structure my day is also similar to Yoden and Cara. So start at 9:30, finish at 6. Tend to have kind of a lunch break if I'm not too busy in the middle as well. But yeah, we're quite a varied range of interns. So we've got finance, marketing, and HR. So if you have any questions about those, feel free to ask as well.
Great, thank you all. My next question is, how did you find the application process way back when you were applying and you subsequently got the job?
Well, for me personally, I know it'll be different this year, but I did the online application and then it was straight to the assessment centre. I know some roles you got a video interview as well, but I didn't have that. And the online application is very long, I'll be honest. It took me quite a long time, but I wanted obviously to put myself out there and make sure I spent time on it. I think it took me about 3 hours, but that's because obviously. But the online application, I actually enjoyed it because you really got to kind of put time into the answers and they were all kind of related to film for me personally because I work on marketing films. And then the assessment centre I actually loved. I got a call maybe a month after I've submitted my application to come to assessment centre, and that was a really fun day. About 20 of us there. We had some icebreakers. We did a speed dating type thing with the other managers where they asked us quite rogue questions. I got asked if I could be any animal, what would you be? And I think I said a rhino. Not sure why I said that, but it's okay to panic. It's okay to panic in those situations. And then we got split into groups, and then we had a lunch. We got to speak to the managers from different parts of the company, so it was quite good to get some insight from them as well. And then at midday, some people will be asked to stay on, and some people will be asked to leave, and you get an interview with the managers. But I know it'll be different this year. It's all virtual, but yeah, it was a good application process. I did enjoy it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, mine was actually pretty similar to Cara, even though mine was more based on the finance team. My application was my initial application. I found it through Rate My Placement actually, and it was pretty long as well. However, I sort of divided it into 2 days. So I did half of it on the first day and then finished it off on the second day. And I made sure I put some time into my answers, put some thought, did some good research about the company, and made sure I knew what they were looking for through the job description and stuff like that. So after that, I think I got an email back about 2 weeks after I put my application in. And like Sarah said, I think I did it a few days before the deadline, so it really doesn't matter whether you do it early or no at the end. I got an email 2 weeks after I applied, got called to the assessment day. Because it's a finance role, we had like a Microsoft Excel test and like a math-ish test or an English test, something like that, like a math and English test. And after that, we had like loads of team activities and individual activities as well. And we did activities in a pair. I remember one of them was where we were, as a group, we were like abandoned in the middle of the sea on a boat or something like that. And we had to pick what items we would see as most valuable. We had to discuss all these things, and the managers and FAs saw us discussing and saw how proactive we were. So yeah, I think it's just about trying to put your best foot forward on the day and trying to impress as much as you can. After that, we had lunch, and then that was similar to what Cara said. Got to speak to the managers and the financial accountants, and then we had the people who were selected to do the interviews had the interviews, and I got a call back, I think 2 or 3 days after the assessment day, and was told that I got the job. So happy days for me.
Yeah, my experience was pretty similar. I did my application form over, I think, like a week actually, because I found it quite early, and then I realized the deadline was like a bit later on, so I made sure to take my time. And I really thought about each answer, which I think is like something I would advise definitely. Our roles are going live in December, and they won't go up until like February, and it will save your application. So definitely take your time with it and revisit it if you have to, with like fresh eyes, and reread it over and over again. But yeah, there were some really weird questions on my particular application. I won't say what they are. We might use them again this year. But yeah, be prepared. And then after that, I had a video interview where I went onto like a video platform, and there were like questions in text, and you just have to record your response to them and answer them. And you can re-record it as many times as you want, so don't worry too much about that. I know it took me quite a while to re-record my responses. And then after that stage, as these guys have said already, you get through to the assessment centre, which for me, it was like about 15 other people that were also looking for the role. And yeah, we did similar tasks, icebreakers, group tasks, individual tasks, things like that. But it was really, really, it was informal, but really professional. So it made you feel really comfortable and kind of showed off what Warner have to offer. So I really did enjoy the day. And I felt really comfortable to like portray my genuine self. I think like a key thing for assessment days is just showing how enthusiastic you are for like learning new experiences and the company and the role itself as well. Because the hiring managers aren't expecting you to have like a multitude of experiences across like loads of different sectors and stuff, because like, let's face it, we're all uni students, so we're not going to have too much experience in like the corporate sector or anything. So definitely enthusiasm and willingness to learn are definitely key things for the assessment day, and asking questions as well.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question for you, what has been your favourite moment so far?
That's a hard question.
Go on, Cara.
Yeah, my favourite moment. Obviously, it's quite difficult because it's all virtual, but personally, being in the marketing team, I've really enjoyed, I'm pretty sure I can say this, the kickoff meetings. So when we have a release coming out, like in 2022 or 2023, we have these massive kickoff meetings, and we basically go through like the marketing strategies for that particular movie. And that's quite exciting because you kind of get a first look into trailers and first look and the type of talent that we're going to get on this particular movie. And all that side of it, I really enjoy. And also another one, so I worked on Tenet, and obviously I got some artwork coming over from the US, and I got to kind of, me and my manager got to choose what ones we used, and it was quite rewarding to see it. When I went to go watch it in the cinema, it was quite rewarding to see, I contributed to that poster, and that I like that. That's quite fun. But yeah, that's probably my favourite moments.
Yeah, for me in finance, I would have to say like the initial period of like getting to know everyone, and even now you're still getting to know them because you don't like spend that much time in person. So the only time you actually talk is like during meetings, or you like schedule calls with the financial accountants to like talk to them and get to know them. So I guess just getting to know new people, and in terms of the job, just coming into it, not like you come into it and you have your handover with the previous interns, and you just see the way they talk, and you feel like, oh my God, they are so good. Like you don't know whether you're going to be able to match up or understand the company and what to do the way they do. And slowly, as you progress, you start to do more and more and more, and you slowly realize that, oh yeah, like I can do this now. Like it is a lot. It's not as daunting anymore. So yeah, that's like sort of settling in and sort of cracking on with work and being able to do it without any help is sort of my favorite moment, I guess.
For me, I think my job's kind of split into two, and I think I'm a bit more interested in the recruitment side of things. Sarah will be happy to hear. So I think my favorite kind of things have been arranging events like this, like helping Sarah and the team to arrange events like this. And I'm really looking forward to the assessment centres for this year, because I'm really excited about seeing everything from the other side. Because obviously last year we all went to the assessment centres, but now we'll be the employers as opposed to the prospective employees. So yeah, really looking forward to that. I think, is that the last question, Sarah?
That is the last question, yeah. So next bit is a Q&A. I'm going to end the slideshow so I can actually see everyone again.
I'm just going to remind you that, because Liz is going to come on camera as well. And
yes. I'll stop screen sharing. Have I done it right?
Yeah.
Yes. Hello. Yeah. Sorry, it always takes a bit of time when I click to join. So yeah, lovely to see you all. Thank you for all of those insights. I'm Liz from Rates My Placement. So I've been checking all of the questions and got some questions as well to ask you. So yeah, overall, I mean, it sounds amazing, like really good stories that you're obviously talking about, and the roles that you've got. So I'm super excited to try and delve into a bit more. So in terms of, if you cast your minds right back to when you were looking for placements and internships, I think a really big one that our audience always kind of asks, like, how do I choose? What do I do? So I would love to ask you all, what really inspired you to apply? So should we go around the room? Let's go Tyler. Should we try Tyler first?
Yeah, amazing. So I applied for a few, mainly like entertainment companies, because my main interest lies in the entertainment industry. I love films and TV shows and music and all of that kind of thing. So I was mainly looking for, even though my role in HR isn't directly related to entertainment, like someone like Cara might be a bit more related to all that stuff. I still do feel really close to the brands, and it's just like, it's an honor to work for a brand that I love the content of. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Cara, then same question to you.
Yeah, well, I'm just turning my laptop charger on. I've obviously always loved film. I've been a massive film fanatic for a long time. And I think for me, Warner Brothers stood out, Warner Media, purely because it's quite a globally recognized brand. Always loved that. One of my favorite films of all time is probably Inception. I've watched it so many times. And I think for me to work for a brand as globally recognized as this one was definitely what drew me towards it. And I had heard about their culture as well as a company and how they really look after their employees. I did want to work with a company that obviously that mattered. So yeah, that's what drew me towards it, but mostly at the fact that I'm a massive film fanatic, always have been. So it was a no-brainer, really.
I love Inception too. Great film.
Yeah, Leo, you love Leo.
Awesome. And Yodin?
Yeah, well, for me, like coming from like an accounting background, by background, I mean, that's what I study in university. You sort of apply to all of the accounting firms, and then you apply to the big companies. And then like when I started all my applications, Warner Bros. was probably the last place that I thought I would end up in, just because of how, like, if you think of finance, Warner Bros. Is not the first thing that comes to your mind. And then I just sort of applied to as many places as I could. And then from the options that I had, I think it's just an unbelievable opportunity to work for Warner Bros. Just because of how relaxed the environment is, how nice is it, how nice and welcoming it was as someone who didn't know that much coming into an environment like that. Whereas the perception that loads of people have of accounting firms in general is that it might be quite daunting and quite sort of strict when you initially enter. Whereas that was not the case at all. So I think it's the perfect like platform for me to start my career off. So that's why I decided to choose Warner Bros.
Awesome. No, that's so good to hear, because you're all in it. So that first-hand experience is so important. So thank you very much for those answers. So I'm just going to check. So we've got loads in the chat. So I'm not ignoring you when I'm looking over here. I'm just looking at the chat. So great question from Margot. So she has asked, and I think maybe if I phrase this, so how much responsibility are you given? I think that's a really, really good one. You kind of talked a bit about in your role. So we'll mix it up this time. Cara, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, so responsibility-wise, I was actually quite shocked about how much responsibility I was given quite early on. So I feel like you are thrown massively into the deep end, especially in my role. When I receive assets from the US, we have to localize them from the UK. There's a lot of legal requirements that you probably wouldn't think about that go into marketing a movie. But, you know, if you get it wrong, I mean, obviously nobody's going to tell you off because, you know, you're an intern and it's not your fault. But I have had a couple of calls and been like, oh, you should probably take this down. And I'm like, oh, whoops, okay. But you have a lot of support even. Yeah, we do have a lot of responsibility, but you also have a lot of support. And I'll always ask questions because of a lot of what my job is. I do need to ask questions to make sure I can upload certain things and distribute certain assets. So yeah, I would say that we are given, and it's good because we get to learn on the job and we get to learn about the company as well while doing that.
Yeah, sounds amazing. I love that as well. The exposure that you get. It sounds like you get so much, and that's such an amazing thing about placement, because it's about how you can cope with that exposure, and it sounds great that you've got people that you can talk to as well. Yodin, how about you?
Yeah, for me, different to some of the other interns, my handover period was about 5 weeks. So that means the previous intern sort of taught me things over a 5-week period, just because of with accounting, if you get the numbers wrong, or if you get any of the other stuff wrong, like there are huge like implications for the company. And in terms of the responsibility, I would say, like, similar to Cara, like I was really surprised by how much responsibility I was given. I mean, obviously the intern told me, the previous intern told me what kind of stuff that I was going to be doing. But yeah, now that I'm doing it by myself, it is a lot of responsibility, and you've got to be switched on. But saying that, you always have support from the financial accountants, and you're never sort of expected to do anything like 100% perfectly. Like, even if you get some things wrong, it's just a matter of a call, them explaining to you what you could have done differently or what you did wrong and why it's wrong. And it's just a really like easy environment to be in, even though there is that much responsibility. So in terms of learning, you learn so much, and there really isn't that much pressure.
Yeah, brilliant. I was going to say, Tyler, have you got a similar answer? Because I might ask you a different question. Just because
I do, yeah. And yeah, just to drive home that the support is really, really there, even though you are thrown in at the deep end and you've got a lot of responsibility. Like some of the things I do are like, if they don't get done, it has like implications for the business, as Jodin was saying. So, but there's always someone to ask, and it's really like supportive, welcoming environment for learning.
Brilliant.
Yeah, go for it. With your other
well, I guess the next big kind of question people are asking, and this is a really good one. So, what are your most challenging tasks or roles that you've tackled so far, and how have you handled this? So that's quite a good one, Tyler. A bit of a spin on the one we just talked about.
feels like an interview.
Sorry, it's not meant to feel like an interview.
Right. No, not at all. I can't really pick one. I think there's a number of things that come to me sometimes, and I'm just like, I have no idea how to do that. But there's always a way to figure it out. And the main thing I do is just asking around. Like as we were talking about before, there's so much support there. So just asking, I've never heard of this before. How do I do this? Or kind of looking into the facilities that you've used before to do some research on how you might be able to figure out whatever task it is that you're given. I think that's something that's really helped me over my time, developing the skill of being able to like take initiative and figure things out myself. And I've really developed a lot in the past few months that I've been here. Yeah,
no, really, really good point. And I'm going to move on to Cara, and I'm going to kind of keep that theme going. So it'd be great to hear from yourself that in terms of like the top tips or the key skills that you think that students need to have to be successful at the internship. What would you say?
Wow. Okay. That's a good question. I would say the main thing, I don't know, especially in my role, especially when I went to the assessment centre, I did feel that everybody there was more than capable of doing the job. And they said that to us. They said, you're all capable of doing it. It's whether you fit into the team or not. So I don't think it's necessarily obviously you have the ability, but it's more you as a person. I feel you have to be confident in yourself, be very personable as well, be able to speak to people, be able to network. And I think if you come across that way at the assessment centre, you will do really well. But also I would feel, especially when things start to get a bit crazy, which it did for me, kind of when we were launching Tenet, was time management. And I feel that in university you kind of have that because you have societies and you have your uni work, and you also might do a job on the side. You might already have that skill. And I did find it difficult in the beginning, but I just asked my manager, and my manager kind of helped me to make a to-do list. There's like a Microsoft to-do application, and that's been really helpful as well. And the only other, just a final note is that everyone is more than capable. It's whether that you fit into that team. So even if you didn't get the job, you can't think that you didn't have the ability, because you would have. It's just whether you fit into that particular team.
I think you're on mute.
You're on mute, Vivi.
Am I back? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I had the thing pop up saying I've been muted and I hadn't touched anything, so that was really weird. But anyway, I'm back now. I was just going to say wise words. Hopefully everyone's soaking them up in the audience. So one question to Jodin. So I think this is a great one that someone has asked. So what were or what have been the biggest challenges that you faced when adjusting to kind of the working world from being in university? So that's something we all face. Yeah,
I would say it's definitely an adjustment that you need to make. It's not something that I mean, maybe for other people, but for me, it's definitely an adjustment that you have to make. In university, it's very rare that you have sort of 9 to 5, 5 days a week, or 9:30 to 6, 5 days a week. Whereas with a job, it is 9:30 to 6, 5 days a week. So you don't, apart from the 1 hour break in between, you don't really have the time to just go out and do whatever. But a huge positive that I have realized from work life from this is that with, at least what I feel is, with university, somewhere at the back of your mind you always have an assignment date or an exam date or something that you need to prep for. So even when you get back home from university, it's somewhere at the back of your mind always like pinching you or teasing you, or you just feel a little bit of additional stress about getting things done for uni. Whereas with work, like after 6, at least with my job, there are days where you choose to work a little extra so that you get things done quicker for your managers. But 95% of the time, when you shut your laptop at 6, it's just a clear mind. You can there's no any backward thought. There's no stress. You have whatever 4 or 5 hours just for yourself to do whatever you want. So that's the sort of thing that I like most about the change. In terms of the adjustment, it's just something you just naturally get used to. You just get up at 8:30 every day, do whatever you need to do before work, and then just switch on the laptop. And the fact that if we don't have to go to office gives us an hour extra sleep, I guess. So that's a perk we have. But I think most people would be able to make that adjustment pretty easily.
Brilliant. And I think that's why we often hear that a lot of students, when they go back to uni after their placement or internship, the time management is amazing, because you're able to do your essays and you're like, I'm going to stop now, I'm going to finish, I've done what I can. So brilliant, love that. So Sarah, a few questions for you. We've got a few people that are asking about if they're graduates, can they apply for the placements? I don't know what you do there.
No, unfortunately not. It is an undergrad placement scheme.
Okay, awesome. So not this time, but maybe in future. That's what I say to all of you. And I thought you covered so many great tips in there about how to kind of impress people and all the different tips for the assessment centres. So I always like asking this one, because we always learn from things that aren't as good. So I wondered if there's anything that you can share in terms of mistakes you've seen in applications or interviews that you could try and help students not do.
So, for example, we often will ask what Warner Media character you'd be, and people will pick like a Disney character or something that's not from a Warner Media brand. So I'd say be really confident that you're going to be saying the right brand or the right, something that's very relevant. Maybe try and almost anticipate questions that you might be asked, so then you have like a stock answer ready for it. Trying to think of other things that might have gone wrong. I think it's just about preparation. We see a lot of people who aren't prepared enough. And if you really want a job, you need to put in a bit of work beforehand to make sure that you're super prepared. So do so much research, and as I said before, where we're all virtual, download the software beforehand, make sure you've got it all, make sure you've logged in early so that you can check it's all working. And I think that's probably going to be the thing this year with all the virtual assessment centres and things like that.
Amazing. Cool. I was just checking to see. So we've answered quite a few of the questions, and we've only got probably a minute left. So I'll try and end it with a good one. Let me try and think which one I can do. I guess you've all sold Warner Media. So I feel like you're so good at being able to share all your experiences. So maybe one for Sarah, just to end on. What would you say from your point of view sets Warner Media apart from all the competitors?
For me, it's the content, I think, and the now that we're lots of different companies merged into one, the breadth of that content, I think, is amazing. We've got CNN, which is, if you're into journalism, that's amazing. We've got cartoons, we've got films, we've got games, we've got something for everyone, is what I'd say. And yeah, it's definitely a little bit out of the ordinary from your usual corporate placement.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much. What an interesting 45 minutes we've had. So what I'm going to suggest, anyone's got questions specifically, jump into the booth, and that's the best place for them to be answered. And I just want to say a massive thank you again. It's been really interesting, and have a lovely afternoon, and speak soon.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.